Looks like actually Visible Nunu Nusha is the duo here, not too far away. It's the early section of the game here, so just trying to get as looted up as possible. Getting the sword there, it's a good pickup.
Yeah, we're here with NCEA White, Nunanusha, and presumably this is also King Boys 234 with a bit of a name change up, or maybe this is a sub. Either way, we're here in the Magic Mosses, a older location, old classic location with kind of new twists being added to every single year, but
Yeah,
nonetheless,
and we'll keep zooming around. We're trying to get a good feel, a lay of the land. It looks like Horonzo's here. Gun Solitude, I believe that is Yark's Knights 1. Achilles here, duoed with CA 2187. A little bit on the edge of the
Wolfpack
map.
Red.
Wolfpack Red, good to see them. Hard case here with Horonzo. Didn't mention them previously. Falker's Rider, and maybe a little bit of something interesting here. Always keeping an eye on the mini-map visible when we make these transitions from players. Oh, and here's something interesting, actually. Some big shots landing onto Falker's Rider. I was going to bring out the mini-map, but the shots are a little bit more eye-catching, and Falker's Rider actually gets dropped here. Roy Main going for that all-out finish. And now it's Keeg the Destroyer left as a solo. Visible, it's round one. What are you trying to do in this situation? Are you going to try to get your lick back, as they say? You're going to try to get that revenge elimination? And that
Yeah.
looks like that's what Keeg wants to do.
Yeah, I respect this. I think you go for the lick back. I think you come back, try to take them out. I mean, there's not much else Keeg is able to do here. Does get taken out, so unfortunately, does get dropped alongside the teammate there. That was the irons being dropped, and well, not much introduction really needed for Roy Main and Neos, but the Fortniters are here. Have been here to
Absolutely.
stay.
Yeah, we know the Fortniters. We know the Fortniters because they are your 2024 national champions here at the AEA. They've done quite well in the AEA competitions in order to acquire that title. And they're here today, but Visible, they're here today competing in the qualifier round, notably, and that's because they've had a bumpy start to the season. They were currently in the fifth seeded position exiting the playoffs, or excuse me, exiting the regular season, which means that they did not automatically qualify for the championship matches that are going to be happening later today. A reminder that these first matches here are the qualifier rounds, so teams seeded fifth and lower able to participate in these qualifier rounds, looking for 12 additional spots, Visible 12 additional spots in that championship match where the winner will take all.
Yeah, it's nice to see the reigning champs coming back and having a really a nice season. Definitely a shaky season at times, but putting together a decent product, a decent enough product to have a puncher's chance at that next round. We're here with Nunusha and Tarjir.
And then CA White, once again,
Yep.
right? Checking him out. We hung out with him a little bit ago. And Fix Tarzier here, he's got the sword equipped. I believe it's the Oni sword. We're gonna see a lot of these Oni items, and if I'm misspeaking, I apologize. I know the other one is the Oni mask, and Visible. I gotta tell you, those Oni masks are gonna be a topic of discussion, but we're gonna have to put in a pin in it because Achilles is on the heel of NCEA White, and I'm not sure that they are aware. There's the indication. CA 2187 is catching shots, but delivered right back into the face of Fixed Tarsier, and now he's just laying down walls after walls as he's catching a lot of pressure, and ultimately going to get knocked there, Visible.
Yeah, really nice pressure applied and getting attacked. Oh my goodness, gets the teleport out.
That's the
And
mask.
well, I'm now figuring out what the mask does.
There you go, and that's why it's an important topic of discussion. Every time we have these matches, we know that these players are experts at using the movement tools, the mobility tech, and unfortunately, North Carolina White, they just were not able to make it happen there. Achilles and CA 2187, they're going to be taking that one home. Can you help me out with the roster there, Visible? I feel like that might be a Wolfpack roster.
As Wolfpack Red.
Wolfpack Red with a couple of points in the back pocket there. That's really, really good for them getting through these qualifier rounds. You only get two, Visible. You only get two qualifier rounds to prove what you have. These qualifiers, it's a fickle beast. You gotta come ready to play, and evidently, Wolfpack Red, they've done just that.
And they've impressed all year. They're really nice to watch and had a lovely play year. Hard case and Ronzo now.
Horanzo might be a
Looks like
name
another.
change. I can't say I'm familiar with the Horanzo roster name. We know how these
It's
Fortnite
another
players like to
Wolfpack
move.
roster.
So Wolfpack
Interestingly
Black
enough, Hardcase was actually listed as the third player for Wolfpack Red.
could have been a substitute
Haranzo
situation, more than likely.
was Agent Zero by the looks.
Got it, got it, got it. Okay, well, very good. So getting to hang out with Alpha Esports and the Wolfpack rosters. The first season in the AAA, but here they are in the postseason. Visible, they are making a name for themselves very, very, very quickly. We'll check back in
Yes.
on Neos and Roy Main. So, it's funny when we were talking about him previously. Visible, the words you used were a shaky season, and I don't think that's not even worth giving a second thought. That I agree with that for the Yarks Fortniters. But what's so interesting is we're talking about a team and one of the most competitive Fortnite competitions, definitely the most competitive Fortnite seasons that we've seen here at the AEA. And we're talking about that being shaky for them, and that's just because of the precedent that this roster has set. Fifth is just not enough for this roster compared to the accomplishments that they've made previously. So if I'm a betting man, I would be betting that they are here to prove that they're worth more than that fifth seeded spot.
It's like that with a lot of, with really every sport, right? You win the championship and you come back next year. Anything but a championship feels, just doesn't feel as good. It feels like you're not living up to the billing. If you're a follower of a favorite sports team, let's say the Oklahoma City Thunder, you can sometimes think. I find myself thinking that, man, Shea, our star player, isn't having a great game, and then you look and you're like, wait, he's got 35
Yeah,
points
right,
out
right.
of nowhere. So that's kind of the season they've had. They put up the numbers. They've played really well, but it's not quite to the precedent, quite to the standard. So um, they have that opportunity today to really show out, and they've showed up so far. Moving on, however, to Cam Killa. And Cam, oh, it's Cam Killer now. He's going with the it's every now and then it was I seem to remember it was Killa at one point, but
It could have been
nonetheless,
us. We have a tendency to be weirdos on the microphone.
yeah,
Maybe is that the Mandela effect? Is that
these are
one?
the Knights.
The Knights, yes, the Arcs Knights won. And here they're actually catching some shots. It's gonna be CA and Achilles again. Visible. We just saw, I believe, the Wolfpack Red roster dealing some hefty damage to North Carolina White, and now Focus Slayer is on the receiving end of it with Cam Killer, who's now knocked. Focus Slayer is getting dangerously low in the background as well. CA 2187 takes out this our POV player here, Visible, and the other member of the roster is eliminated. That wasn't even a 2v2, Visible. That was two separate 1v1 fights that we got to spectate from Cam Killer's perspective, who unfortunately did not leave that fight standing. Now, fortunately, if you are a Alpha Esports fan, for this Wolfpack Red roster.
What's been kind of this is a little bit of an almost unprofessional aside, but I've just been paying attention to the skins. I think I've known one skin so far, and that's pretty low for me, and is making me feel a lot older than I dare say I am.
Hey man,
Uh,
it's keeping up with the Fortnite skins. That's a full-time job. Now
it's
we've
a new skin today. So today in class, I was like, they always make the Fortnite skins look a little bit weird when the characters not human shaped typically. And I swear, speaking of the Mandela effect, let's move on for a second. Oh my goodness, what a crazy fight! An unfortunate timing while I'm waffling, but a great kill there for Romaine and Neos.
and it's the Yarks
Taking out a
Fortniters.
squad.
Yeah,
Yep.
taking out the Edison Eagles there. Taking out the Edison Eagles, so they're getting eliminated. Um, I
You
believe
never
that
know with Fortnite. Sometimes you got to fill the time up, and then suddenly the time
it's
just closes up.
it catches up with you. I mean, I think the terminology there, Visible, would be sold the clip. But the good news is, if you did sell the clip, the Arcs Fortniters, they are a clip producing factory, manufacturing clips every single bi-weekly Saturday here at the Amateur Esports Association. And a nice couple of additional points there. That's going to be helpful. We're looking to qualify. We're looking to prove that we can do this, Visible, in the championship rounds. That is ultimately the goal. Another example here of the Oni mask being used in maybe the lower octane form, just using it for this impressive rotation. But Visible, before I continue, I guess you were making a point there about skins in Fortnite, and maybe I'm sure that
So
people want to know.
I had thought, yeah, this is very important, obviously. I had thought that Sonic was in the game and he had kind of strange human-like legs instead of his normal sort of just stick shape.
Yeah, and that
And
was
my
not the
kids had to
case.
tell me that he absolutely is not in this game at all. So I have
There you
absolutely
go.
no idea where I saw that information.
Maybe,
But it,
yeah. I don't know who's
I,
producing the faulty Fortnite skins that has tricked you into thinking this is the
like,
false news.
is there a fake news Fortnite skin that they just post concepts? Because it's driving me a little bit insane. But one day, we will have a Sonic skin, Sonic representation in
And
a new
you'll be the
game. But
first
for now,
customer. You will be the first customer.
exactly, exactly.
Absolutely. So Horanzo and Hardcase, so our Wolfpack roster here, our friends from Alpha Esports, they have taken to the skies a little bit, and I'm curious. I mean, I guess the thought process here, because they don't seem to be at the absolute skybox. That's not my interpretation of this. I'm wondering if this is just a matter of, we have these masks. If worst case we do get knocked off this high ground perk position, we can just teleport and we're not actually going to take the fall damage that we might take in another situation. So they are taking the sky base approach. Maybe they are at max height actually looking at it. They might actually be. And if they can go undetected, Visible, this is one way to do it. This is one way to qualify of the many respectable strategies in Fortnite, and that is the one that it seems the Wolfpack roster has taken. I think we've seen them do that before on stream as well, but I think we're getting into a little bit of a situation. Visible CA2187 is currently knocked, and Achilles is taking shots from the one, the only, the Fortniters.
And here we go. Oh my goodness, Romain trying to penetrate this base here, gets in. Achilles goes down. CA also down, and that looks like a very, very quick and clean wipe. Beautifully done by the Fortniters, and they're answering the call today. Game 1, right off the jump. Is this the third team they've had a pretty, just a really clean wipe on?
They like to be in front of the camera. That much is evident. We keep running into them, and evidently, Visible, we are down to just these two rosters left. So we have two different strategies here. The Arch Fortniters, who are the runners and the gunners. They are taking a fight with anybody that merely looks in their direction or even looks away for that matter. They want all the smoke, and currently Wolfpack, they just want to be up in the air. So we're going to have to see how these two strategies combine. At what point are the Fortniters going to be aware of their situation? One thing I want to look for is if this does come to a weather the storm situation, who's got the healing available for this? Horanzo holding 2 medkits right now. That's ultimately what this could come down to. We've seen it happen in Fortnite before, but we haven't seen it on a stage like this. Certainly not in quite some time.
And something that kind of makes me a little nervous is what if the other squad sees them up here and can shoot out one of the sort of supporting pillars. Always makes me a little bit nervous at this point, but they do have the mask, and I'm still barely understanding
This is interesting.
what the mask is. Okay, that's what it does.
Yeah, it's a major teleporting
Ender
tool.
pearl.
Yeah, I mean, effectively so. Oh, have they run out of materials? They're abandoning the skybase, Visible. Ultimately, I appreciate this. The goal is not to weather the storm in the 2v2 situation. This is just going to be a matter of when are these two duos going to run into each other. The ultra-aggressive playstyle, the Fortniters, ultimately has led to some mass extinction in the lobby. Usually we wouldn't see us down to 2 teams until a little bit later, but with that being said, that is the case that we're at right now, and it's just a matter of time before these two duos battle it out for first place in this first round of the qualifiers.
And isn't it amazing that it always somehow comes back to Fortnite? Or excuse me, always come back to Minecraft. We're mining trees.
We are mining trees.
Using ender pearls. Always comes back to the tried and true.
Every game is kind of just Minecraft when you think about it that way.
This is just Minecraft with mods and some shaders, clearly.
Yeah,
especially with that new update. So we can see in the distance there with our personal spectator hacks, shall we call them. Neo's paid.
Yep, absolutely. Coming in hot. And now there's no doubt about it, Visible. The position of the Wolfpack roster is absolutely known to the Yarks Fortniters. And look at this aggressive play. Hardcase, he's in the back line of the Arcs Fortniters, and Neo's Paid is about to fall because of it. Roy Main, however, gets the elimination on the back end, and now it's a 1v1 with Neo's being dropped and fully eliminated, but Hardcase is down to just white HP, 100 HP available to them, to Roy Main's 200 HP visible. Does pop the mini there for Hardcase. That's going to be nice and helpful, but it's only a matter of time before Roy Main shreds through these structures. Hardcase now picking up the lowest angle, trying to look for the opening. I don't think more heals are going to be possible. Down to a 1v1 situation in the first game of the qualifier. One shot would do it. Not going to be found there. You can see Roy Main is just slaying down the pieces visible.
Getting positively scary at this point. Just trying to get into Hardcase's box. Trying to find some kind of gap. The piece control on display from both squads, looking for that final shot. Doesn't need much, maybe 2 clean hits on Hardcase. Now just needs the one. Roy Main juiced up, does not have any damage on himself.
It's the sword.
Look at this.
It's the sword, the Oni sword for the finish.
Oh my goodness.
And there it
is.
Goodness. There it is. Of always to end it, it was with the Oni sword visible. Yarks Fortniters taking round 1 home for them. That's a great way to start the qualifier rounds. And ultimately... Visible, what is your strategy going into Game 2, the final game of the qualifier section of today's matches? It's kind of a do-or-die situation.
It is a do-or-die situation. You're on the cusp of having really a puncher's chance to get into the next round and to make some noise. And we're going to just pause what we're thinking about here. We have a little bit of a conflict going on.
And it's the Arcs Fortniters on the other side of this conflict visible. Roy Main is shredding, literally using the sword to get in close, and Focus Slayer is getting absolutely annihilated while simply trying to put the builds down. And if you look at the kill feed, it is all Roy Main. Getting both of those eliminations on the back of the Oni sword. Every now and then visible, an item finds its way into Fortnite that is just a little bit silly. And I think this is one of those situations here. The Oni sword contributing to a couple of quick eliminations there for the Yarks Fortniters. But the Yarks Fortniters, they were mad at you for previously selling their clip, and so they got back at you by interrupting what you were saying about Game 2 here in the qualifiers.
We could make a compilation of the amount of clips that I have sold here in the AEA. I mean, that's been my whole career here, has been finding a way to ruin these players' beautiful, beautiful plays. And I will continue to do so, and as that is my pleasure. But fantastic gameplay, as always, from Neos and Roy Main. Running through the lobby at the moment with some confidence, with a little bit of swagger, dare I say. They just look good. Looks like they've kind of worked out a lot of their issues that we haven't really seen. It's strong word to say issues, but it's cool to see them on such a strong footing and back in the way they are.
I could not agree more.
Yeah, you know, this just tripped me. This actually stun locked me. These skins. What is happening?
If I'm not mistaken, this might actually be a Mr. Beast skin. I'm not sure what's underneath the monstrosity of a costume, but I can tell you who's rocking them. This is the Edison Eagles, and they currently have a cheeky little position here on the top of this electrical tower. Going to be able to scout out a lot of good information from this spot. The Edison Eagles, they finished the regular season in the 6th seed, if I do recall correctly. And they're looking for a little bit higher than that. So they're going to have to qualify for the championship and prove that they're able to do so then and there.
How cool. How cool is it for them to pop in and make some noise, have some fun. We're out here now with Bane and Citizen. I'll get you their team names just a moment. Had to change it up. So NCEA Navy is who we're out here with.
Perfect, man. North Carolina Navy potentially eliminated early in the previous round visible because we didn't get to check them out too much in that last one, but it's great to see an additional North Carolina Esports Academy roster in the mix. And what's interesting about that is if it's true that they were eliminated early in the first qualifier, that means there's actually a lot of pressure on the second round. As we mentioned a couple times at this point, you only have two opportunities to get the points needed to qualify for the championship matches. And so every single point, every single fight, it really, really goes the distance. And if you make a blunder in one of these two games, you really have to make up for it in the other.
Absolutely, yeah. It all just it's exponential. It compounds on itself. So a lot more pressure. But these players are used to it. You know, every single game matters throughout the regular season, but definitely more of a finer point and much higher emphasis. And you know what? I'm starting to recognize more skins. This is clearly a Marvel Panther of some description. Looks like it could be Shuri, possibly. And we're in
Okay.
a little bit of a fight
We
now.
do have a fight breaking
This is an
out.
awkward spot.
If you want to see a fight break out, just have Visible talk about skin. CA 2187 in an awkward position. The water is not the best place to fight from, and ultimately it is going to be the cemetery for CA 2187. Roy Main on the dealing end of that killing blow, and now it's Achilles with the sword. We've seen Yark's Fortniters use it for their purposes, and now they're on the receiving end, but Achilles doesn't find the finishing blow. It looks like Neos is literally 1 HP Visible. A breath of air might just push him into the other direction, but for now, it's a 1v2, and that's how it will end, as Achilles does get knocked by Neos there.
Beautifully done. Also a domino skin. Okay, I'm starting to hit on some of these.
Very good.
Beautifully
Very good,
done
Visible.
though from Neos and Roy Main. The other teams in the lobby just need to run from these guys right now. They're on one. They're really just playing a ridiculous brand of Fortnite right now. And really it's the aggression. It's the aggression meets the skill. When those two things come together in this way, man,
Yeah.
is that a dangerous combo.
The run and the gun, it's a strategy that we see the top teams adapt, and it's a strategy that we've seen for quite some time. Ultimately, there is a lot of skill expression that goes into how these players are able to take the fights, but the name of the game is points, Visible, and a considerable portion of those points comes from getting eliminations onto other players. And one way to do that, well, it's not going to happen unless you're fighting. And moving around the map, getting into as many POIs, and going to the next one, that's going to get you into the most fights. The caveat there is you have to be a team that's comfortable fighting, and the Yark's Fortniters, they are nothing if not that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're comfortable fighting in this league, you're gonna be quite happy. There's a lot of fights that happen. As I'm saying that, of course, cursing it and
Well,
cursing it and just seeing these two players just kind of chilling.
they're not too far from the action. There is a duo just to the south of them here. We can see that our protagonist of the time being are just a little bit north of Edison. This is actually a very interesting situation that we see at hand because the Yark's Fortniters, they're going to be rotating in very, very closely to a few of the remaining players that we have left. And I'm just going to stay on this view here, Visible. I mean, what is going to break out? Are the Fortniters going to be aware of Falker's Rider and Keep the Destroyer? Or are they going to keep that train, literally, moving on towards the Edison Eagles here?
It's an interesting situation, to say the least. They have an opportunity to maybe just put some damage down. I just don't know what you do to the Fortniters at this point. They have their equipment. They have everything they need. They're in hunt mode, so theoretically, you know, challenging them to a fight at this moment, maybe not advised.
Yeah, and that's going to be the decision that has to be made by the Edison Eagles. It seems that the Arcs 49ers are not aware of their position, and Edison has not fired the shot. So we'll see if that is going to be what ends up happening here, or if maybe Edison is just going to choose to stay in the mindset of that's information that we now have, and let's stick it out for a little bit higher on the placements.
Yeah, and I wouldn't blame them at all for that decision. They've had a good day, had a good year, but every now and then when you see a team that is playing like this, you might want to move on. Here's a fight now.
Moving on might not be an option. Excuse me, Visible. Moving on might not be an option for Falcon's Rider or King the Destroyer. King the Destroyer running out into the absolute onslaught of damage coming through. And honestly, Visible, Roymain took a hefty hit there from King the Destroyer, but was ultimately spared, not destroyed. Roymain, a couple points, another couple of points. I feel like I have to say this 4 times a match. A couple of points in the pocket of the Arcs Fortniters.
And more loot. So just constantly building up all that stash. I mean, if you look at what they have, each of them have all the purple guns, the yellow gun, all the shields they could want, the special items, the Oni sword and the mask. So they're really in control right now, in hunt mode. As we said, they're not just going for the win; they're going for the kills also, which both these things very very important in our league. You gotta get both. You can't just write it out and play it safe, and you can't just get kills and not find any round wins. You gotta kind of find a nice mix of both of them. And these noises are...
They are something.
Wow.
We'll give a quick shout out to the Epic Games sound engineer for some of this. I actually think we have a visual bug as well. This is actually the Arcs Fortniters going for one of the later game bosses here that are available. Many of these are serving as opportunities to get some additional loot. We'll take a break for our ears, as it looks like the Edison Eagles are actually looking to get involved. Maybe trying to take advantage of the fact that the Arcs Fortniters are looking at something else, and shots are landing. Visible Roymain catching those from TSK Slick.
Here we go. The map is rapidly changing too. We've got potentially a really interesting fight here. This is going to be Neo's and Roymain's first big challenge of this round, because they're on even footing. They're not just surprising a team. These two teams are colliding at the moment. See if they can hit the right shots, build the right paths. Lance and Paris already a little bit in trouble. Fortniters going for the kind of the height advantage. We're swapping between between Lance to go to Slick, who just gets popped. And the 1-tap, the 2-tap, it feels like that was just a pretty clean sweep there once again for Fortniters.
Wow, it was. And, Fizzbull, just like you said, it was a little bit refreshing, despite the fact that the results, the more that things change, the more they stay the same, it seems. But it was refreshing to see that another team was taking that initiative onto the Arcs Fortniters. Ultimately, that seems to be a consistent contributing factor to the Arcs Fortniters' success, is they are the one throwing that first punch. But it was the Edison Eagles in that scenario. I think what we saw there was when Lance and Paris started to go for that aggressive build upward to try to get onto Neo's landed that placement above on the piece above Lance there, and really denied any opportunity to move upward on the map. And from there you could see it was just really awkward gameplay from Lance. And I think that's one thing that is sometimes underappreciated. Like, to the players it's everything, but to the spectators we don't always appreciate just how important each one of these pieces of builds are.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. So obviously piece control, but also just positioning overall, as you're talking about. Just being above the enemy is such a ridiculous advantage in Fortnite. Putting some shots on now is Roymain, who's getting in sort of these little air pathways here and popping himself up, trying to get the no aim down, just the spray, last little tick of damage. Does eventually find Citizen there.
I recognize that it's definitely our spectator, but the shots didn't look anywhere near. I know Neo's is a mechanical legend, so definitely hitting those shots better than the spectator is giving him privy for. In a 2v1, Arcs Fortniters, they're descending onto Citizen, who have their citizenship revoked there. Fizzable. That's going to be a second victory in the qualifier rounds for the Arcs Fortniters. We have gotten to see them a lot. So King the Destroyer and Falcon's Rider, it's great that they've made it here, right? They progressed past the qualifier, and now they get to shoot their first shot, maybe literally here, Fizzable. We can see Cobwebby in the crosshair here. And Falcon's Rider is going to take the shot. The first shots of this team in the championship. They made it through the qualifiers. They're here now. but a little bit of a sticky situation. You can see Neos just off screen creeping on up.
Yeah, what an exciting opportunity for these two teams meeting now in just in the north of the circle. It's a little bit of tick damage there onto Keeg. Keeg is kind of burrowing, and we keep seeing this against the Fortniters. Players keep trying to burrow, and it just has not worked out. It doesn't seem to be working here. Fortniters are exposing them a little bit, just getting on top, kind of just asserting their skill level, showing the lobby what they're made of. You can't burrow against this team. They're gonna root you out. You might have to try to outbuild them, but even then, it feels a little bit perilous. Just like that, Romain and Neo's another team knocked out.
Yeah, they've knocked out another team. Sorry for a second, I misunderstood what you were saying there for a moment. And I thought that here, Cobwebby and Crayfish of the Scrim Center, the Scrim's Esports Center roster, I thought they may have been getting caught up in that fight as well. But it looks like they are choosing to keep on moving. The one thing I'll say about Scrim Center, based on what we've seen in the regular season, this team, Visible, they value consistency. If not, they definitely exude it. They are a consistent team, tried and true throughout the regular season. They consistently place highly, and they consistently get a solid number of eliminations, but they aren't as, and I don't even mean this as a slight, it's just they're not as all in or boom or bust as something like a Yarks Fortniters are, right? We got to see 2 rounds of the Yarks Fortniters popping off, and we now know what that looks like, and it looks spectacular Visible, but sometimes that leads to that early game loss, and that is something that is just less common to take place for a team like the Scrim Center roster here.
Yeah, and that's been certainly, it's kind of been a challenge for the people here, the teams here have not been named. The Fortniters have had a little bit of a difficulty adjusting. Some of the teams here haven't been playing each other regularly, so they're seeing new tendencies, they're seeing new skill sets. They don't know to be wary of certain teams or to challenge certain teams in certain ways. So it's really deep in the season to have new experiences, but it'll be good nonetheless to have these teams exposed to other squads, other ways of playing, because we have obviously a couple, the 2 different divisions that each have dramatically different styles. So we're seeing a little bit of that kind of clash at the moment. We're over here now with McFromia, NCEA Gold, McFromia, and of course the 200 IQ Dread.
That's right. They were chilling out, waiting for some activity. Good to see North Carolina Gold. Now that we've made it out of the qualifier rounds, we get to say hello, right, to our top 4 teams that we missed out on previously. So North Carolina Gold, one of those top 4 teams who did not play in our qualifier rounds, they had automatically made it to these championship rounds, just like North Carolina Platinum, another North Carolina Esports Academy roster, and Visible. They are just below the team that we were spectating a moment ago. Let's tune into them. And this is a battle of giants. The Yarks Fortniters, they made it happen in the qualifier rounds, getting elimination after elimination, victory royale after victory royale, but it's the championship. Can they do it against the best, the number 1 seed out of the regular season, North Carolina Platinum, now facing off against the Yarks Fortniters?
And they're gonna have it's gonna be a tall task, obviously. Fortniters have been on their game today, and this is gonna be tight quarters, very close quarters combat to be dealing with the Fortniters in, but they have an opportunity. They gotta be able to take it.
They gotta seize it, and I'm not sure they're gonna be able to. I'm not sure exactly how this is broken down, but the Yarks Fortniters have escaped, which is confusing for a multitude of reasons. Usually, they're not the team to ever try to escape. They must have been knocked dangerously low. We'll check out Roy Main here, and it actually is. It's Neos has been eliminated, right? And at this point, Roy Main, this is smart gameplay, right? We have to appreciate this, especially if we're going to be able to get the reboot here. Being able to make this exit, if this was realistically, this is good all the time, because if you can get back your duo, of course you're going to have better odds. But this is just smart gameplay for Game 2 of the championship. 4 championship rounds total today. You don't want to botch it in Game 2. Let's play it safe. Let's play it correctly. Let's get the reboot up, if possible. Actually, we are going to do the reboot here. I wasn't sure if Roy Main was going to look for another opportunity. So we are going to get that reboot. A smart play from the Arch Fortniters. They bled Visible, but they have not been eliminated.
That's the most important part. You have to take them both out. If you don't take them both out, you're asking for trouble, and I think they're gonna trouble is what they're gonna bring. If anything that we've seen today is indicative of what we're gonna see the rest of the day, which I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that's probably the case with the way they've been executing here with Devoy and Citizen. So we're gonna see who these lot are. This is NCEA Navy. We've been out here with them a couple times.
And they're looking clear, right? It's sunny skies ahead for them. Nothing on the mini-map that's too concerning right now. And the loot's not too bad. Maybe going to look to pick up a couple of additional items along the way. But right now, they're looking relatively uncontested. As we enter the middling section of this game, Scrim Center, they're holding down this high ground position. Invisible, if you look at that mini-map, things are getting a little bit hot on the Sky Islands where our famous voice actor resides. We've got to look to see if we can tune in. It looks like Neos has been dropped again, Visible, in another fight against North Carolina Platinum. Platinum has done it. A second elimination onto Neos, who just got rebooted. And Roy Main is back in the same position we last left them in, having to make an exit rotation from North Carolina Platinum. Maybe, I don't know if that's a chase onto the Edison Eagles or if this is a coincidence. Maybe the Edison Eagles also running here, but a lot of a marathon taking place, if you would.
Yeah, and it is a marathon rather than a sprint, both the whole season and just inside the Fortnite match. Lots and lots of things can happen. I mean, Roy Main's still formidable on his own.
Absolutely.
That is for sure. So, not counting Roy Main out at all, it's definitely possible to 1v2 in Fortnite also. One of the things that makes the combat so compelling, and I think the mark of an interesting game, is it's not just a pure numbers-based shooter. It has the elements of outplay that we so crave as viewers. Back here with NCEA Navy, as we're loading up here, looking awfully close to another squad.
Yeah,
Several other squads. Actually, it looks like this could be
a
huge showdown here.
This is what we love to see. This is my favorite Visible, and you know, sometimes it takes the championship to get teams to play in a disciplined enough fashion to make it to this sort of situation. Look at that rotation there also, too. You can see these void masks being used, the rotations that are coming through. Something is about to pop, absolutely. And North Carolina Navy, they're right in the middle of everything right now. Are they going to get picked up on by the Scrim Center roster? So you can see they're eyeing out North Carolina Platinum there in the distance. But in the bush, Visible, is this going to be unchecked? Is this going to go uncontested? Scrim Center is letting it happen right now. Staked out in the bush. Well aware of North Carolina Navy, but Navy none the wiser, Visible. An eerie feeling about this.
It's calm before the storm here. Haven't had the shots ring out yet. Both teams mildly aware of one another.
There it is!
There it is. Oh my goodness. Cleanly executed there from Crawfish and Cobwebby.
DeBoy doing everything they can to escape the shots from Scrim Center, who are looking to try and finish what they started. Dangerously low. Here's the Void Mask for the engage. They are making the full commitment onto DeBoy, who is hiding in the box, but it's not going to be enough, Visible. And the Scrim Center, they are going to take that one home.
Beautifully done there inside that fight. And once again, it's remarkable that we're still having to deal with the Fortniters as well as Cobwebby and Crawfish just played.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The fact that Roy Main is still around. Yeah. Scrim Center, a great job there. So who is all alive here? Visible. It looks like the Edison Eagles. We have Scrim Center here. We have North Carolina Gold. We have North Carolina Platinum, North Carolina Esports Academy, 2 rosters alive right now. But is this a fight taking place, or is Platinum, they're just eyeing out the scene, it seems, looking for their next move, looking for the teleport? And one thing, Visible, I know you're figuring out the Oni masks. You can also bait the teleport. You can... Oh, Josh, you all right? Let's get you patched up here, Josh. You can also bait the teleport, which is an interesting play that I've definitely seen players making with this ability. You can definitely fake them out, make them think that you're going for a teleport to escape, and then you pop around the corner and hit a big shotgun shot. So that is certainly possible and something to look out for, as especially as we get to what is bound to be an incredibly exciting end game here to the second round of the postseason championship in the 2024 Fall Series Fortnite competition. North Carolina Platinum, they've got a lot of momentum right now, coming in as the #1 seed from the regular season. Can they execute against Scrim Center, who just finished up a great fight of their own?
Exactly right. Last little patch here near Seaport City. Big showdown here. Not getting a lot of visual information here, just knowing that they're surrounded, beset on all sides by enemies. Crawfish and Cobwebby standing above them, standing tall. Roymain somewhere in the distance. And then another McFromia also. His duo also in the distance, not in this fight yet, so this is not going to be the final fight. Crayfish goes down.
The shots are coming in from the outside as well, so we know that there is some third-party situations taking place. Crayfish goes down, and was that the duo? Can you help me out, Visible? Was that the entire duo for Scrim Center getting eliminated? Or
that looks like it. Yep, that is a clean wipe.
Okay. Well, there you have it. Roymain seems to be the one who is dealing those shots in from the far. And actually, Visible, we do have Cobwebby still alive, so Scrims, they're not out of it yet. The shots now are primarily taking place between North Carolina Platinum and Roymain of the Yarks Fortniters. But Cobwebby is seeing if they can get away with it. Roymain with the teleport doesn't get out for free. Cobwebby has made a greater escape. Another teleport from Roymain. It would take a miracle shot to find the elimination, but now Visible, Roymain has just teleported right into North Carolina Gold.
Roymain being an absolute nuisance, just putting himself where he doesn't really belong. Shielding up now. Low on resources a little bit. Doesn't have any more shields to really deal with, but has the golden AR, has I think the blue shotty, almost said purple shotty. Blue shotty has some of the of mask uses left. Has some maneuverability, has some options. I honestly think to say something a little out of character for Romain might be good to just hunker down for a little bit and third party this last fight.
It would be a duo versus duo plus Roymain situation. We saw there that Cobwebby did ultimately fall to North Carolina Platinum. And so that is the fall of Scrim Center. A formidable finish, 4th place in the second round of the championship. Definitely not disappointed. But how this next fight is going to break out is going to be incredible. Roymain and North Carolina Gold are about to be forced out of their structure here. McFromia is going to be the first to break the ice. Not catching too much damage, but Platinum, they're well aware of Roymain's positioning. Roymain currently tanking the storm. Dread, Visible, gets fully knocked, and Roymain has made the escape. North Carolina Gold and Yarks Fortniters, they look like they're rotating in tandem, excuse me. Dread with the full knock. Domain is teleported in, and Josh is just to follow.
And now Roymain does not have the high ground. Josh getting
Look at
a
the
little bit
laser!
of shots on. Beautiful elimination onto Nick Fromia. And they should have Romain just about dead to rights. Have to play this perfectly, though. Romain's not going to give himself up easily. Looking for the angle. I love how they're playing this here.
Well, Visible, they wouldn't call... Well, you know everybody's a fan of a comeback story. It's not going to be a comeback story. I was going to play that angle for Roymain, but this time it goes to the North Carolina Esports Academy Platinum roster, bringing home that victory. Yeah, the Norman North roster, they have consistently been solid, Visible, despite the fact that this is their first season competing in the AA. And as I say that, we actually see the Yarks Fortniters popping off and getting a couple of eliminations in the elimination feed there. But Norman North, we haven't seen them on stream yet today. They've been a little under the radar. I believe they had an unfortunate early finish to round 2. They did get the victory royale in round 1, and now, Visible, they're looking to get an elimination. North Carolina Esports White is on the receiving end. Nununusha has been laser beamed down a little bit, but did deal some damage of their own. Wookiees of Norman North is going to find the rest of that elimination, and pressure is healing up before engaging on to now the solo out of Fixed Tarsier.
Yeah, the solo gonna be in a pretty precarious spot at the moment. Uh, just like that. I mean, you can close the gap so easily now with the new tech added this season, and gets the gold AR. So what a nice bit of loot here for Wookiees and ISO, and these two duos, of course, from Norman North, just always a very
Look at
nice
that.
show being put on from them, and just shots on target right now. Has so much ammo, has the gold AR. That gold AR hits like a truck, as you saw just there.
Yeah, I mean, to be entirely fair, Fix Tarsier was in a tough situation. I don't think Tarsier had the fortune of coming across an Oni mask to have a chance at being able to out rotate Norman North in that situation, but it is nice to just see a nice, satisfying headshot visible. I think the last time we were on stream, we talked about how much we both love the sniper rifles. Getting to spectate that in Fortnite is a great time. We don't have that this season, but we have some interesting tech, and the players have laser beams. 100 HP shields broken here for CA 2187. As Neo's, I think, was on the dealing end of those shots.
Yeah, beautifully done there, and found a way to put shots on once again. Starting to recognize more skins. I don't know if they keep changing skins up when I'm not looking, but they keep hitting on ones that I recognize.
I thought I was
Swapping
chasing
around.
down Achilles here to see, because Achilles was left in the train, and I was out for just 1 second, but that's all it takes for the Arcs Fortniters to find that elimination. We'll try to keep up with this fight. We got a couple of different point of views, and now it's evident that the North Carolina Platinum roster are also involved. They're engaging onto Norman North. This is a couple of giants visible, and by a couple of giants, I do mean our regular season first and second seeded teams facing off against each other here in Game 3 of the postseason championship. These monumental fights can mean everything visible because not only is the winning team putting points in their pocket, they're also denying any points from the team that they are eliminating. And while that is true, it looks like that's not going to be what happens here, as North Carolina Platinum are looking to play a little bit safer and try to solidify their placement here in Game 3.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with playing a little bit safer. When you have the resources, when you have the intel, making those decisions always a nice thing to see these young players do. It shows they're not just kind of AFK, just kind of running at people, holding the W key, or just holding forward on the controller on the sticks. It's cool to see when they're making the more interesting side of Fortnite, which is the decision making that leads to all the fun building moments and all the piece control moments, all the stuff we talk about in the action, all the things that lead up, also very important. You can see some of the logic being implemented by some of these teams. A lot of teams out into the north right now. Not a lot of teams yet in the circle. About half and half, shall we say?
Yeah, one duo that I think we'll tune in on here are the Edison Eagles. They are kind of in the middle of that northern cluster of teams that we saw, and so I think it's very likely that they could run into trouble in the not so distant future. Lance in Paris, evidently a fan of both of the Oni items, has the sword and the mask. A decision for the loot pool there. And TSK Slick, of course, the duo here for Edison Eagles. So they're rotating around, ultimately kind of avoiding some of the trouble that I thought they may run into. Just a moment ago, they had teams on the left and the right, but it looks like sunny skies for them, at least for now. North Carolina Platinum making rotation, but no enemies on their minimap either. Roy Main down to a solo again, visible. Neos has been eliminated, evidently. That must potentially, that was in the North Carolina Platinum fight that we saw before. I don't think I remember Neos getting knocked. I remember seeing that.
Yeah, I don't seem to remember seeing that either. Might have just been off camera. Might have been during that kind of scuffle we had. It's a little bit hard sometimes with the spectator to see absolutely everything that goes on without multiple replays. Just being kind of the open worldiness of of the fights and kind of the open-endedness of them. Um, but I do know one thing though. If you don't take out both Fortniters, one of them will bring the
That's
other
how
one
it's
back at
been.
some point, or they'll make it to the final circle somehow. Somehow, some way, they're gonna worm their way into a good spot.
That is how it has been up to this point. Citizen and Du Bois now. Is this the North Carolina Navy roster visible?
Looks like it.
Perfect, yeah.
Yes.
They are making their way kind of past the masked meadows here, looking to get into some action of their own. They don't have any eliminations in their. I keep saying pockets visible. I'm going to say it again. They don't have any eliminations in their pocket up to this point in the game. But they're certainly looking for it. They're making this aggressive rotation right now, just kind of begging somebody to run into them. A lower population at this point in the map, but I think that's because teams are really just waiting for that last circle. They want to see teams slip up, and they want to be the one that doesn't slip up. They want to be the one that makes it to that last circle and gets those placement points, because this is everything, right, Visible? This is it. It comes down to these final rounds, the fleeting moments of the postseason, of the fall season of competition. Everything that these players work for is boiling up to these last couple of rounds of competition, and you want to be the one on the correct end of everything.
Yeah, just setting yourself up for success and giving yourself an opportunity. And you know what? If you don't make it this year, that is not a failure. It's just, you know what? You have some things to work on and go next. As we like to say, us ballers, you just say ball up top. You just go next. You try to rework some things in your game, add some things, spectate some better players, and try to mimic them. We might have a fight here. I've been kind of
Yeah.
thinking
No,
they're looking for him. Here they go. Okay, it's just a
McFromia.
very confusing setup. They're
Yeah.
bouncing around like crazy.
McFromia was looking to ball up top, hit the teleporter up to the high ground there to look to ball out from. I don't think McFromia, the North Carolina Gold roster, is going to be able to. Actually, I thought it was going to be a teleport, but as I warned you previously, you can bait, and it was me who got baited. Roy Main, as you can see, Neos is up as well, visible. That means a reboot has occurred, and North Carolina Gold, they're looking to take out one of the reigning champions here at the AEA, the North Carolina Gold roster, looking to take out Yark's Fortniters. Not too decisive of an engage, as you said. The awkward footing is definitely still existent between these fights, and I think the fear visible is the third party, right? That would be a devastating way to get eliminated at this point, and you can see North Carolina Gold, their head is on a swivel. They're looking to the left and the right, trying to see if there is an opportunity. Nice shot attempt there, but Roy Main remains unscathed.
Yeah, that is all. It's always a worry and it's always scary. And here we go, getting shot from behind, just trying to get just out of the line of sight. I don't think they're going to be able to avoid this fight, frankly, just where their positioning is right now. Once again, they're going with the... Okay, here we go. They have some mass, so it's a little bit of capability to move around a little bit. But Mick Fromia taking enough damage now where I'm not seeing them getting away. It's going to be so close. And at some point, maybe the Fortniters might stop pursuing them just in interest of not attracting too much attention. They are in the middle of several other teams. Dread is out. McFromia finally gets taken out from Neos. Is going to be finished off here. Dread does wind up getting away, but do the Fortniters get third-partied now? Maybe even fourth-partied, if that's a thing.
Yeah, I mean that's the saving grace for Dread here. I almost think McFromia was like, Dread, you just hit the escape. If I can stall long enough, we know that there's a lot of teams in the area, and that's how the York's Fortniters have got involved in this. That's also how North Carolina Platinum has gotten involved. Ultimately, North Carolina Gold, they did lose one. They're out, but not gone. They still have one more left in this round. Neo's now being engaged onto, but Royman with great supporting fire from the side. Hard Case of one of the Alpha Esports rosters is also finding shots into this fight as well, looking to see if a little bit of a cheeky pick can come through on the third party. And through all the chaos, North Carolina Platinum, they remain on top. They have the high ground. Roymain shooting shots from below. Domain looking for the angle, just have to find anything. They have the positioning over the Yark's Fortniters, but that is simply not enough. I was a little bit worried, Visible, about the hard case third party. You could see the red chevron on the map there, the red indicator of the player on the side. And ultimately, to my surprise, Visible, the North Carolina Platinum roster, they're actually exiting the Yark's fight.
Yeah, it's remarkable they were able to not get tied up too much in that fight. It looked like a pretty sticky situation for all teams involved. It seemed like all teams were just kind of going to get stuck in the muck, so to speak.
Well, look at the rotation.
Enough got away.
But look at how many teams are getting pushed in by the storm. I mean, not only do
Which
you
team is
have
down there in Hopeful Heights?
yeah,
Just chilling.
exactly. They're just, I mean, actually just listening to lo-fi beats right now. No concern at all for them. It looks like that actually is going to be Citizen and Du Bois, potentially North Carolina Navy roster there. We do actually have shots coming through. Horanzo is getting shots here, taking shots from North Carolina Platinum. So as we predicted, that rotation back into the Storm is going to be a difficult one. Josh does find the knock. Hard Case is still alive for Wolfpack Red, but they're actually both players getting eliminated. North Carolina Platinum, they're finding out how to make it work. They're making it work in the difficult time. Visible.
Yeah, I like these teams are making the best of a tough situation when most teams drop in the center in the north and then the circle just happens to go all the way south. You're going to get a bottleneck situation. You're going to get a lot of these teams converging on one point, and that kind of chaos breeds uncertainty. Uncertainty is going to be really the key factor in elevating a lot of teams that aren't as consistent as our top couple in this lobby, our top most consistent finishers. So this is going to be very fun, I think, and a good opportunity for a lot of these teams that haven't beaten out the Fortniters today to have a good shot at taking their crown away from them. Neo's Paid, as I'm saying this, drops to dangerous levels, and I can't tell. I think got out with the mass teleport. Yes, did in fact get out. And how annoying must it be to attack the Fortniters when they're just so slippery today? It's so
And another
on their
teleport.
game.
This time it's from Platinum making the rotation. Visible, I feel like we're on the Sky News 6 helicopter right now. Norman North, they just are in the air with the prime view onto everything, and they are being absolute nuisances, firing, pestering shots downwards at all the teams below.
You know, we might owe Wookiees some money. Technically, Wookiees is being a tech right now for the AEA, giving us
our cameraman
these perfect overhead views.
Absolutely. You know, you get started in this industry a little early. The camera operators of the AEA. Shout out to Wookiees. Many hats, a star player of the AEA and camera operator. And I think if I say it again, the joke would officially be dead. So we're going to talk about their rotation instead. Norman North trying to find and scout out Du Bois. I'm not sure. North Carolina Navy may actually be undetected. I think ISO Pressure is aware of Du Bois' position, and they've scouted it out for Pressure, who is falling into it as well. But actually, it's North Carolina Platinum that's engaging, and it's Norman North versus North Carolina Platinum, not because they're shooting each other, but because they're competing for the same final blow, Fizzable.
Very interesting. This area of the map is so bizarre looking to me. Every now and then, just it seems almost otherworldly. And we're up here now with ISO and Wookie, we've been with for a few minutes now, who really love these little perches, love these little spots, putting a lot of damage down, loving what we're seeing from them, and the very measured aggression we're seeing.
Yeah, I think your read on it is very good. They're dedicated to very disciplined position. Neos gets caught out. And a couple of engagement teleports here. I mean, look at the rotation coming out from Norman North. Pressure is in the mix, practically sharing a box with North Carolina Platinum right now. A nice readjustment to get the high ground and a teleport back to Wookiees for safety. 3 teams in this mix right now, 5 left in the game. And Fizzable, if you look at the minimap, you'll see that a big rotation is about to be forced here by the Storm. Whichever team gets the advantage on that move is going to be in good shape, but if none of these teams move too quickly, they're all going to be in danger by the Storm.
Yeah, it's such a crazy finish to this game. I mean, what in the world is happening? We've had multiple games in a row where it's been down to 1 team, 2 team plus 1 usually, and this is just getting insane. Multiple teams now duking it out, and all these players are going to have to figure out, you know, try to compartmentalize their own positioning with where each of these teams are located. Some escape routes here. Domain tries to get out, and it does work. Takes a lot of damage in the process, however, and they're going to look for another repositioning. You can see the comms coming through, both of them committing to now a new location. 200 IQ Dread in here, and I think Dread has the idea here, maybe why they're hitting 200 IQ points with the hiding while all this craziness is going on. Romaine with no shields, but still no lack of aggression. And once again, the staple of getting the high ground, making the move, not staying too long in one place, cannot surround Romaine easily. That is for sure. Now pushing high ground right in the middle of multiple teams and somehow not getting
I
shot. I do
cannot
not know
believe
how this is happening.
the trigger control of Dread, who is not detected in the bush behind Roy Main here. I mean, a laser beam opportunity here, but very disciplined. I mean, the difference between placing in third, placing in second, and placing in fifth, I mean, it's substantial, Visible. You don't want to get out fifth. Citizen is going to get eliminated there. And I believe that's going to be it for North Carolina Navy getting eliminated in that fifth position. Wookiees, Norman North, they're still alive and well, at least physically, but mentally I'm sure these players are at their wits' end. This has been a hysterical ending to the game. North Carolina Platinum holding down the building here. Norman North taking shots into it. Trying to find the engagement. Roy Main left as a solo right now in this chaos. And 200 IQ Dread is the same, has not been detected out of this bush, Visible, but now he is going to have to move, at least I suspect so. Does have the health kit if they want to play the Storm, but it's doing hefty damage. Playing just on the outskirts, and now here's the rotation. North Carolina, this is the gold roster, I believe. That is the case. Going to have to see how they want to take this, looking in the direction of Norman North, looking in the direction of Platinum, trying to find their play.
Such an interesting situation here at the very end. And we're dealing with a lot. There's a lot of variables going on. Not a lot of teams dropping out entirely right now. A lot of teams still well within their means to win this. And we might have a couple any second now where someone's getting eliminated. Down to the last little bit. It's amazing these teams have hung on this long.
Domain gets dropped! That would seem to be a free opportunity for an elimination. It ends up being a scalding blunder for the North Carolina Platinum roster. I was assuming that Twitch Josh had that free kill as well, but unfortunately Domain gets capitalized onto. Wookiees of Norman North. Great read on the situation, and now it's the Arcs Fortniters and Norman North both throwing shots at Twitch Josh. North Carolina Platinum is on the receiving end of a onslaught of damage, getting cracked multiple times, trying to pop the minis to keep themselves alive. May have a second to breathe. Roy Main just on the outskirts of this fight. 4 teams still left alive. The fact that Dread is alive right now, North Carolina Gold owes that entirely to Norman North, who distracted Josh by killing the duo. And now Josh is left as a solo to try to hit the rotation here. 2 solos and the duo of Norman North. It's hard to see a solo winning this one. A fight between 2 of them. North Carolina Gold is going to find the elimination onto North Carolina Platinum. Twitch Josh gets eliminated, and Dread is the victor of that scenario. We're down to 3 teams. Roy Main is one of the Arcs Fortniters, and we have Norman North separated between each other, but still the last duo in the lobby.
The last duo in the lobby. Finally, it took so long for these last couple teams to kind of suss out who was going to make it here. This is the opportunity. Someone might be able to usurp the Fortniters on this round. Not on the day as of now, but in this round. Roy Main drops. Gravity introduction, as 22 likes to say. Introduction to 7 HP, but still dealing
introduction
damage.
To the shotgun, Visible. Oh my goodness.
My God.
And we're down to 2 teams, 3 players, 2 of which are Norman North. Visible, you always want to give the duo the advantage, but the momentum, the snowball, it's all in the favor of Roy Main, who is finding absolute prosperous scenarios in the chaos. Look at this. He's left, he's right. ISO pressure gets knocked by the Storm off the back of a nice shotgun shot. Wookiees repositioning with the teleport potentially to the high ground. It was a bait. Wookiees looking for the shot. Still Roy Main dedicated to the good positioning here. There is the teleport. Pressure gets the full eliminated based on the Storm. This is going to get absolutely freaky. Here's the shot coming in. Visible. What does this come down to here? 2 giants facing off against each other.
Roy Main getting the high ground, has the health advantage now, and that's going to really help with this circle not stopping for anything now except just moving east, northeast now we're heading. And Roy Main having the high ground, such an advantage, gets the shot on Wookiees. What a finish.
Oh my
Victory
goodness.
Royale once again in an absolute nail-biter.
Yarks Fortniters finding a way to make it happen. I'm not sure they are aware of how close to another team that they are rotating with right now. Just in that bush to the left, there is another roster. I'm not exactly sure who it is quite yet. Keeg the Destroyer and Falker's Rider. There's the shots coming out now, but I don't think they got enough out of that Visible. They did crack the armor on Lance and Paris. But TSK Slick, he has an opportunity here to kind of bunker up and wait for Lance to get healthy again. You can see Lance has already healed up a little bit of that HP, and now has an opportunity to take these shots and help out TSK Slick, who is surrounded. We're going to need to see something happen quick, though. Edison Eagles might find themselves eliminated from this match if they can't make it happen.
Yeah, gonna need to put in the work here. Edison Eagles in a nice spot, actually, over Falkers right now, over the Irons. Not bad at all, and just obliterate that sword is just
there it is. You know,
lethal.
Lethal. Can you help me out, Visible? Keeg the Destroyer and Falker's Rider. Is that our Knights? That's our Irons. Yes, the Springfield Irons. You know, I appreciate their strategy. They had good trigger control, right? They were disciplined in taking their shots, but ultimately I think that they kind of lost their element of surprise. They had a strong engage onto the Edison Eagles, and it worked out for them to get those first blows, but somehow Lance in Paris was able to just take his time and get all healed up and ultimately hit the re-engage with the sword and find a lot of value. Again, a little bit of a silly item, a couple of silly items in the mix this season, I think, Visible, but ultimately Edison Eagles able to use them to get a couple of elimination there. So very good from them. And the Irons, that is the end of the Irons run for today. That's definitely, you know, anything is possible. There's 4 rounds. We don't know exactly where they placed and how many eliminations they got in the previous rounds, but an unfortunate early ending for them in round 4 of the postseason championship. Our final round today, Visible, it all does come down to this.
I've kind of had interesting talk about the meta just a little bit as we have a little bit of downtime, and I'm checking the map as I'm saying that. Yes, we do in fact have a little bit of downtime.
A little bit of downtime.
Just a little bit, but we have. I do wonder what the Fortnite community sometimes thinks of these updates, because I personally, as someone who doesn't play Fortnite, I really do value a game that likes to keep their game updated and keep adding new and interesting things. Even if sometimes they're overpowered or seen as maybe broken, overpowered, however you want to call it. I think it's kind of fun to introduce crazy tools that are almost feel like they shouldn't be there sometimes.
Yeah.
I think that can add a lot of value, and I think it's cool also from a perspective of someone in the AEA, where we get to see people really every single, not just every season, but every part of the season is vastly different depending on what update we're playing on.
This especially because I know Fortnite did something a little different. They had something of a mini season in this year, and it definitely made the meta change up really, really quickly. I don't think these pot shots are going to lead to an elimination, but you can see Platinum taking them. In any case, Visible, you know, it's a little bit wacky, a little bit silly, maybe for a player at times, overpowered items in the game. The thought process is they come and they go just as quickly as they come. So if you don't like it, hey, you know, play tomorrow and it might just change again. What it all boils down to for me, and the thing that I love to see in the AEA, is in a game that changes as quickly as Fortnite does, it comes down to adaptability, right? And our teams that are consistently at the top of the leaderboard, yes, they are incredibly mechanically able. Yes, they are incredibly game savvy. They know how these abilities work. They also know how the fundamentals of the game at the deepest level operate. But they're also just adaptable players. They can make those game time decisions to overcome the obstacles that may arise on a season by season basis, a day by day, and Visible, it's your turn to talk. That's how that goes.
Yeah, on a day by day basis, and yeah, as you're saying, it just goes on and on. Can't really praise our players enough because they just show up and it's like, boom, they know exactly. They seem to have already min-maxed all the little new elements in this game. So being a student of the game you play. And being interested in it, obviously, as you and I are coaches, very lovely to see there are people who are just really into the game in that way, and like to kind of min-max it. I like to go that extra mile.
And Visible, another thing that these players have to be adaptable towards is the competition format, right? I mean, this is a 4-game series. Do you want to be ultra aggressive in the early game and make up for it later? Do you want to be consistent and see where you're at in the standings so that you can end with a strong punch, or try to make the overly aggressive play because it's what's required to make the podium? Those sorts of things are also on the player's mind today. And I think those sorts of thought processes are what led to what we saw earlier, which is when we were talking a little bit. We saw the tail end of a skirmish between North Carolina Platinum and what I believe was the Arcs Fortniters. And they had both taken some shots, but this is game 4 visible, so they're not going to overcommit to that situation in the early game. You can't risk in a postseason championship format like this getting out early, and so they played the discipline, the fundamentally correct decision based on the format that they're presented with. They are adaptable, and they decide to live to fight another day.
Yeah, the correct decision in many cases, and so it seems, is just, you want to give yourself the best shot of winning. We talk about this all the time, with our players in any sport. Sometimes in any esport, there's
Yeah.
sometimes not always a need to go full out try to min max your damage. Sometimes just playing your life is really important. Right now, Bane Gamer's gonna have to play their life, and does so here with a little bit of a mask maneuver. Very beautifully done. Hanged out there a little bit.
Oh, Lance gets
Shot
eliminated
back.
though.
Oh my gosh.
They're actually able to turn this around. Citizen and Bane Gamer, they get that one elimination onto the Edison Eagles, and now TSK Slick is left all alone, still firing in some shots, but Citizen has the angle, might be able to push on to our remaining solo of the Edison Eagles. We'll see how this goes. Not sure if we can catch that Citizen point of view. We might just have to catch this one from Bane Gamers. In any case, I actually think TSK Slick is looking to find the exit rotation here. Might be able to get away with it. Fizzable is still getting hunted down, but that Oni mask is such a important tool to be able to rotate through the map here. Does end up taking that teleport there. Potentially, that might just be it. That might be a safe exit here for TSK Slick in this situation. But if you take a look at the minimap visible, this is late game scenario a little bit early. Something about Magic Mosses has popped off, and there are a lot of players here, including North Carolina Platinum, just in the distance. TSK Slick is off to the left, and Crayfish and Cobwebby, that's the Scrim Center roster now engaging onto North Carolina Platinum.
Yeah, they're gonna have a really excellent opportunity to make some noise here, and all over Cobwebby and Crayfish gonna have to figure out what they want to do, and gonna have to figure it out pretty quickly. Has the health and has some movement with the mask, so could maybe go the long way around. Looking like more of an aggressive play though, so maybe they're gonna go for the elimination and then the move. Might be rethinking that now. Has a little bit of ground to cover, and we're gonna try to see if they get out. We'll try to make a mental note of that and see if they get out and for later.
There's a lot of action. I'm trying to keep us updated
really
here,
is.
Visible. I apologize. We're zooming all around the place here, but Bane Gamer does get knocked down by Cobwebby. It looks like the conclusion of the fight that I was trying to keep us up to date on here is Scrim Center does find those eliminations, and so we'll take a quick peek at the map. You can see this is absolutely late game territory. Many people still stuck in the storm right now, left for a late game rotation. Wookiees of Norman North in the middle of the map, prominent position to making a rotation here, and we might have a fight going on right now between Neos and one of the Wolfpack rosters. But now I'm trying to cast from that minimap is impossible. So let's just check out the North Carolina Platinum roster, who do get the elimination onto Crayfish. There's the full knock. Cobwebby trying to stay alive on the inside. This is Scrim Centers trying to put it together in round 4. They've got 2 of the top players in the league on them, and they are going to succumb to that. North Carolina Platinum getting a nice 2-piece there for them. And look at this Visible. No time wasted. They are back on the road again, looking for their next, hopefully for them, victim. If you're a fan of North Carolina Platinum, good things to see here.
Yeah, I don't mind the use of that word at all in this esport. You really are hunters in this game. You're looking for those points, looking for those kills, even more so than a lot of other games, because you're in that kind of crazy open environment, a lot of different options. We're seeing a convergence here, Neos versus Wookiees, a match we've seen many a time before. Each player has gotten their own sort of boastful moments against one another, but a lot of respect, as you saw there. They kind of saw each other and knew, okay, time to take this one really seriously. You're gonna have to be perfect, the best the other player. Love to see the respect there, and just trying to get a little bit of a reorganization going.
I think the minimap is definitely a consideration of that as well. Not that the players can see just how congested this area is, of course, but it's getting tight, and the players know that they're, is definitely a third party waiting at any given moment. So you don't want to get caught up in a fight that is anything other than incredibly advantaged in your favor.
Yeah, and they have plenty of opportunities to kind of suss out which fight that may or may not be. But those opportunities are slowly dwindling as we're going to get an. I mean, how in the world is this going to be castable? It's just going to be an absolute madness here in the center, right over this little lake.
Very awkward for Neos. You hate getting stuck in the water in that situation. Most of the players don't have that problem. Neos uncharacteristically gets stuck there for just a moment, but is going to be able to hit an exit teleport with the Oni mask here. We've got to take a wider look here and see exactly what's going on. So many teams in this area. Notably, the duo of North Carolina Platinum seem to be moving with just a little bit more confidence, moving right into CA2187, who does get knocked. There's the full elimination. And they are moving a little bit confidently. TSK Slick, the solo of the Edison Eagles, now getting a dove on to Twitch Josh and Domain, both sharing that box. This is very, very tight if you are looking for an Edison Eagles victory. TSK Slick is keeping themselves alive, keeping onto the high ground, and so many teleports occurring right now, Visible. Everybody focused on keeping themselves alive, Achilles included in that list.
Yeah, this is, I mean, it is every person for themselves. Achilles goes down with the quickness. Hard case, what an amazing, is as a solo at the moment with the duo down. Hard case of Wolfpack Red makes
Edison
the
Eagles
move.
is down as well.
It's taken down again.
And just like that, Visible, we're down to 3. A familiar couple, North Carolina Platinum, still alive. Wookiees has the high ground, but also Hardcase Visible is making it happen for Alpha Esports when they needed it the most. This is round 4 of the championship games. And Hardcase has made it to where we haven't seen them on stream previously. On the largest screen, Visible, Hardcase has the potential to win it all, but we're spectating Wookiees first of Norman North. A good shot opportunity, narrowly missed. North Carolina Platinum able to escape, and right now you've got to be keeping an eye on the minimap because this storm is going to hurt. Wookiees making the rotation now. Going to be first to storm, maybe able to puppy guard here a little bit. Twitch Josh has made it onto the same box as well. The teleports continue to make this an incredibly mobile game, even in the last moments of the last circle here. Hardcase gets caught out by North Carolina Platinum, gonna grab third place for round 4. Wookiees, a solo against the duo of North Carolina Platinum. Potentially a bait teleport, another bait teleport. Platinum have taken the bait a couple of times, but have not been punished for it. Wookiees needs to make something happen, needs to find the shot. But Visible continued to evade down to 1 HP in the middle of the lake without a life jacket. And I think this could be it. It's all down to North Carolina Platinum. They have the high ground. They almost seem comfortable, Visible.
Unbelievable, this finish here. Wookiees so low, fighting for his life here. And it's such an awkward spot to fight on because there's just no solid ground. There's the final shot.
There is the final shot, Visible. North Carolina Platinum winning it all in round 4, our final round of the championships. And we would be remiss not to give you an update on the leaderboard on your screen now. The final standings for the 2024 Fall Series games. And Visible, would you believe it? The Yarks Fortniters, they've done it again. They've landed themselves that championship position on the back of 1 win in our 4 championship rounds, 67 points and 31 eliminations. It goes to the Fortniters, Visible. What do you think about that? What do you have to say about that?
They came out swinging today. They were in a division. They thought, you know what, it's do or die time, and we think we are going to be hunters today. And they showed they're capable of doing that still. Our defending champions. It's really nice to see them back.
Yeah, I mean, an incredible performance for them. The storyline for them, a bit bumpy this season. They were in the 5th seed coming into this event today. They didn't automatically qualify for the championship. It's almost as if they had something to prove, Visible, and I think that carried into the championship games where they were able to perform just to that level. And when I say just to that level, that's exactly what I mean. Right on their heels, North Carolina Platinum and Norman North Esports. It was just 11 points, Visible, that separated our first placement and our third placement teams. And so that tells you just how close, particularly the Yarks Fortniters, the North Carolina Platinum roster, and the Norman North Esports rosters all really are. They are so competitive with one another. And just behind them, you have teams like North Carolina Gold, the Edison Eagles, Scrim Center, right? I mean, very close. Even Wolfpack Black making that 3rd place appearance there, I believe. That was at a hard case there in that 4th game. I mean, strong showings across the board. Visible, is it safe to say this has been one of our most competitive finales to a season?
It's got to be up there, and it very likely is the most competitive. It's been a credible year at the AEA for Fortnite, and what a treasure of an esport, and what fantastic teams are we just privileged to watch night in and night out, week in and week out rather, just to see them come alive in the big moments and have fantastic days. We even like, in a strange way, we like to see them struggle a little bit too, because the comeback is always so strong, and so much more interesting when teams have those ups and downs. So we saw the ups and downs this year. We were with them all the way and had a lot of fun.
Absolutely. We have to hand it to the players. They worked so hard through the 2024 Fall Series, but ultimately, all good things, they must come to an end, Visible, and that is it for the 2024 Fall Series here at the Amateur Esports Association. Thank you so much for tuning in and rooting on these players as they went through the games. Congratulations again to the Yarks Fortniters for their 1st place finish, as well, of course, to the runners-up out of North Carolina Platinum and our 3rd place finishers from Norman North Esports. Fantastic showings from all of the teams, and I cannot wait to see what they bring into the spring season with just a little bit of time to coach and practice based on these games today. It never ends here at the Amateur Esports Association. More great games coming around the corner in 2025. I've been 22. Visible, thank you for joining me today, but I think we're signing off.
Thanks everyone. Have a great day. We'll see you next season.